So GW has announced their 2024 price increases. Sucks, but there are some silver linings. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. As always, my name is Jay, and in this video I want to talk about the 2024 price increase by Games Workshop. Games Workshop, of course, announced about a week and a half ago that they're going to do their annual price increase in June. And, yeah, it's coming. And it's coming up on June 10th, and it's going to be price increases, right? So number one, is this a surprise? No. For a lot of reasons. Number one, they've done this repeatedly. Every year, there's a small price increase every year. Number two, I don't know about y'all, where y'all live in across the world, but here in Canada, I know in the United States, in Canada and Great Britain, inflation has been a focal point for the last about 2 years. Things are going up in costs. Everything's going up in cost, from gas to hydro to heating to electricity to your favorite burrito. Everything is more expensive now, right? Groceries are more expensive. And if things aren't becoming more expensive, what you're tending to see is shrinkflation, where you're getting less for the same price. And we're going to talk about that in a future video too. That is happening for some Games Workshop products, primarily the Battle Forces and the Combat Patrol box sets. Every time a Combat Patrol box set replaces a previous one, you get less value. That tends to be the name of the game. But GW has announced that depending on where you live, right, the prices are going up by a certain amount, typically between 3 and 5%. Which is kind of in line with inflation, right? With the average rate of increase of a normal product from year to year. And as I said, I do understand that because obviously it costs more to produce the product, right? I don't know about the molds are built, but I guess to make new molds for new models. The materials are probably getting more expensive. And most importantly, it's more expensive to transport and to store and to manufacture the products, right? To create the packaging, to ship it, and to store it is more expensive these days. And so what happens, the company passes on the expenses to the consumer, you and I, right? And once again, it will not affect us all equally. Depending on which country you live in, it's going to affect, some countries it could be 1 or 2%, but they mentioned in Norway and Sweden, it's going to be between 8 and 15%. So that begs the question, what's going on in Norway and Sweden, right? Does IKEA have something to do with it? I don't know. But that's huge. Now, I'm in Canada. Now, in Canada, we do tend to get the brunt of it, as does Australia. The reason is, it's really nasty to ship products from the United States, is where they ship from. Southern states, usually Texas or Nashville, to here in Canada. And it's very expensive. So as Canadians, we too tend to get hit pretty hard by these increases, as does Australia. Because Australia is an island, it costs a lot to ship to Australia. Makes sense. Typically it's like a reverse bomb, but basically the closer you are to the manufacturing source, the less you're hurt, right? So if you're in Great Britain, France, if you're in the United States, typically, since you're at the hub of the shipping and the production, you don't get as affected as much because it's less expensive to ship and to get you those products, right? Once again, it does make sense. And it sucks, obviously, because our hobby is expensive and it's getting more expensive, right? It's not great. Obviously, it's not amazing. I would prefer prices stay the same. There's no way they're ever going to get cheaper, not for buying new models from Games Workshop. And it's not good overall, but, and this is what I want to talk about in this video, is that it doesn't affect everyone equally in a lot of ways. And arguably, it could actually be a good thing. Now, please don't stop watching this video or hit thumbs down yet. Give me a chance, okay? Let's start with the bads. Very easy. The two groups that it hurts the most are the new to Games Workshop product gamers and the win at all cost gamers, the hardcore tournament player gamers, who I will acknowledge can carry this game. obviously, to start with the new gamers, it's going to suck because it raises the bar of how much a new wargamer has to spend to get into our hobby, to play in a tournament, to paint their army, right? To carry against us, right? To go to a tournament, have a good time, be competitive, enter the hobby. It's going to get more expensive. And yes, every time these price increases happen, it deters a lot of these people. And that being said, though, my counter as well is with what's going on in the world today and inflation going crazy, a lot of people have less money to spend anyway, so they may not even get into our hobby because they're spending more on groceries, gas, heating, rent, everything else as well. But once again, it will deter new gamers into our hobby. 100%, I will admit that, and that sucks because we need new gamers to replace the old gamers, and we need that, and that's going to hurt. And second, of course, the win at all cost hardcore tournament players. They're going to be spending money, and prices like this really hit them hard because they spend money and they buy large quantities of the same model. And there's usually a strong correlation between a very good model for rules and an expensive model. The expensive models tend to be good. Not in all cases, obviously, but in many cases. So, for example, if I was a win-at-all-cost orc player, which I'm not, I'm a fun, casual orc player, and I go to tournaments every now and then, and I have fun, and I bring different lists, and I have a great time. The shining stars of the new orc codex are mega knobs. Many detachments favor mega knobs, right? They're very strong, and they can be really beefed up using most of the detachment rules. So mega knobs are really awesome. Mega knobs come in a pack of 3. 3 mega knobs. Now in Canada, they're $85 a box for 3 mega knobs, right? Let's say I was a hardcore player. I can't bring 3 mega knobs to a tournament because my fellow hardcore player will destroy those mega knobs the second that they enter the table, right? If they're in transport, they're going to get popped turn 1 and then just stay in the backfield and get dropped. So win-at-all-cost players or hardcore tournament players, I'm not saying they're the same. But hardcore tournament players tend to spam the best models, and they bring a lot of them. They max out the squads, and they bring the max number of squads, right? Like years ago, before they introduced the rule of 3, you used to go to a tournament and see 9 flying hive tyrants on a table. It was ridiculous, you know? And so now, if I was a hardcore gamer, I'd be like, okay, I need to buy squads of mega knobs, but they're $85 each for 3. Now this is where it gets fun. You also really want to get a Big Mac in mega armor, which one of those 3 can be made in the kit. So now you have to go, okay, well I can't buy 1 box because it only gets me 3 mega knobs. I need more than that. I can buy 2 boxes, which gives me a squad of 6 or 2 squads of 3. But once again, I need a Big Mac. So I could buy 3 boxes, which gives me 1 squad of mega knobs. I can make 1 Big Mac, or 2 Big Macs. Okay, so I run around 2 squads of 3 mega knobs with each Big Mac. And then I have 1 guy that I can't use. Because once you add that extra guy into a squad, it changes the points from 3 to 6. And then you're paying for 2 extra mega knobs that you're not playing with. Okay, so you can't buy 3. So 3 boxes doesn't make any sense. How about 4 boxes? Also really doesn't make any sense. 5 boxes makes sense. You could build 2 squads of 6 mega knobs and 3 Big Macs in mega armor, right? So 5 makes sense. 6 doesn't really make sense. 7 is actually the perfect spot. So 7 is the max out point. If you buy 7 boxes of these mega knobs, you will get 3 squads of 6 mega knobs and 3 Big Macs in mega armor. 7 boxes. And the scary part is, I know my analogy sounds silly to a lot of you out there, but I know of people who are buying that. And I know of people who would buy that, and I've seen this in tournaments already. I've heard of the tournament scene, and people are maxing out mega knobs for orcs. I went to my local Games Workshop, and the guy's like, yep, I brought 3 squads of Mega Knobs to the recent tournament. Had a great time. Killed a lot of stuff. 3 squads. So 7 boxes of Mega Knobs to bring your win at all cost hardcore list. So in Canada, that would cost $600 plus tax. It's almost $700 to bring 3 full squads of 6 Mega Knobs or 3 Big Macs with Mega Armor. Wow. Right? That's huge. And these people, if you're willing to spend that $85 per box, you're going to be willing to probably spend $90 a box. And it's going to hurt you in the wallet. Because you're going to be spending more, so maybe this is the time to go out and spend money. So the hardcore tournament players are going to be really affected. The new players are going to be really affected. But it actually could be a good thing for casual players like me. And probably you. If you're a fan of my videos, you probably aren't a hardcore tournament player. Or you could be, and welcome. But casual wargamers, like myself, we have the problem of buying a lot of models and not painting them. I do. I'm fully guilty of this. I have 250 models approximately left to paint in my giant pile of shame. Right? So 250 models in purchase, not painted yet. Price increases actually can help us because studies have found when items go up in cost, like take groceries, cars, something, a combination that's a necessity or a luxury, people actually spend less, which is counterintuitive. And the reason being is the prices deter us from buying it, right? So if something costs a certain price, you're like, that's worth it. But if you increase it $10, you go, you know what? That's no longer worth it. In our head, we have a fixed price, kind of how much something's worth. And once it crosses that point, we don't want to spend that money anymore. So it's a win, potentially. Last painting challenge I did was Tyranids. And I mentioned at the beginning of my Tyranid painting challenge that I was probably interested in picking up a box or 2 of Zoanthropes. Because I don't have any Zoanthropes of the new style painted. I wanted to add them. They had a little bit of burst, make my armies more competitive. And then I saw the price of Zoanthropes. And in Canada, it's $90 Canadian for 3 Zoanthropes. $90 for 3. And again, if the only reason I was thinking of bringing them was to beef up my army, I can't bring 3. I gotta bring at least 6. So am I willing to spend $180 on 6 models? And the answer was no, I wasn't. Second I saw that price, my brain said, Jay, you're not buying those. And so I saved $90, technically $180. And I didn't say I stopped buying 40K. I took the same money and I put it towards the new Battle Force for the Orcs. In my head, it was worth the value of the box set, right? I've always wanted a Stompa. I love the new mech. It's going to be really cool to paint up. So, in the end, this price increase will deter people like me from spending my money and your money, right? It'll make us focus on what we have in front of us. All those painted models, all those unpainted models that need to be painted, right? It'll let us use and become more creative with the models that we have. Again, I have 10,000 points of Orcs. I have 10,000 points of Tyranids. I can create a list that's fun, quasi-competitive. Again, Tyranids, we'll say loosely. Orcs, definitely. The new Codex, in fact, I'm beyond max number of models for like Orc boys, because I have 180 already. I can only field 120. Ludas, I have 30. I can only field 24. So, for me, that's okay. Like, these price increases are going to deter me from spending my money on box sets that are in that bubble. Because let's face it, if they were worth buying, I would have already bought them at the current price. Or at the previous price a year ago. And I know rules change, codices change, different models change in strength. But for casual gamers like myself, I tend to buy the models I love to paint or play with due to the story or bring a little oomph to my lists. Like, I don't jump at what the hottest thing is at the moment. And so, for these price increases, to me, it actually, like, I'm going to spend more on the models that I want to buy, yes, but I'm going to buy less models. I know it's going to deter me, because it already has deterred me. I didn't buy any Zoanthropes, right? I didn't buy any Zoanthropes, and I'm not going to buy a lot of things. Like, at one point I was thinking of buying the Night King for my Necrons that I'm painting up for my current painting challenge. Saw the price, went, no, not right now. I still have 250 more models. I'm going to paint them. And so I'm looking, maybe I'm just being more positive, but that does help, right? It does help me. So price increases could actually create a good thing, because it's going to force me to be more creative with my lists, maybe be a better general, and to paint the models I currently have. Wins. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. GW is publicly increasing their prices, right? They don't have to. They don't have to publicly increase their prices now, because most, like, if you go to the grocery store and you want to buy a box of cereal, that price of the cereal has probably increased 5 times in the last year, and the companies are just trying to hope you don't realize it. Or they're keeping the price the same and slowly decreasing the amount of cereal you get and hoping you don't realize until one day all of a sudden the same price buys a box of cereal like this big. GW is publicly announcing their price increases. Now, they're a little vague of how much it's going to affect each market, I will agree. And their intentions, you could debate on. Like, what are their intentions of this? Are they trying to be more transparent? Are they trying to soften the blow? Or are they trying to create a sense of urgency? That maybe now you're going to think to yourself, okay, those Zoanthrope models, they're going to go up in cost. You were thinking about buying them, maybe you should buy them now while they're cheaper. That could be an option. Right, that could be a viable hypothesis of why they're doing this. I don't know. But I do respect the fact that they're doing it publicly. They're saying, hey, on this date, we're increasing our prices. Take that as you will. You can buy more models that you want to buy right now, but just going forward, things are going to get more expensive. So, that's kind of my shtick. I know I'm going to get flack for this video, but I'm just being honest and quasi-optimistic. Overall, it sucks. When anything gets more expensive, it sucks, because there's no way our wages are going up in the same rate as these models. There isn't. I agree, it sucks. And it's really going to affect, the ones I really feel sympathy for are the new to the game wargamers. So options could be buying secondhand armies, going on eBay, Kijiji, or markets, and buying models for a discounted price, or whole armies at a discounted price. That could get someone into the game for still a decent price. The hardcore gamers and the people who are willing to buy the max number of whatever's the hottest thing right now, I have less sympathy for you, to be honest, because you're choosing to intentionally buy the most hardcore thing you can and the hardest core combinations. If you're going out and buying 7 packs of the Mega Knobs, you're going to be spending money regardless, right? So for me, when I take my armies to a tournament, I just build what I have, what I can do with my painted armies, and I have a good time, right? That's me. I'm a casual gamer. I love it, but I'm not a crazy hardcore gamer, and I respect the hardcore gamers. They're going to be spending a lot of money, and to them it really sucks. But they're always spending money, to be fair, because they're always buying the latest, hottest thing. Because in GWs, intentionally, like for 3 months it'll be good, and then Mega Knobs will probably be dropped down a peg or two in 2 to 3 months when a balanced data slate happens. Those are my thoughts. I know I'm going to get flack for this. I'm okay with that. I'm going to lose some subscribers, probably, but there's pros and cons. There's definitely pros and cons, and I just wanted to talk about it, because I think it's actually going to cause people like me and you to spend less money for our hobby. I'm going to focus more on the models I'm having. I have a painting challenge right now. I've bought models this year. I'm going to focus and try to get all my models painted this year or almost done this year. And then maybe after that, I'll be willing to spend some more money. But in the meantime, I'll save a little bit, and that's good. I could put it towards tournaments or terrain or other things that I want to do in this hobby. It doesn't have to be saved for other things or just towards the other things, right? Because life in general is getting more expensive. But what do you think? Am I being too overly optimistic? Am I being an idiot? Right? Your opinion is just as valuable as mine, and I respect it, and I actually would love to hear about it and create a discussion. I've been seeing so many videos with negative comments that I just kind of wanted to talk about it. So, what do you think? Leave comments in the comment section down below. Please like this video. Tell me what you think. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. It really helps a lot. Hit that bell so every time I make a new video you see it. And stay tuned for more videos. So next time, this is Jay saying happy painting the models you already have.